I love that. All right, it's 6 p.m. and I'm going to call to order this city council meeting for April 14th, 2026. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Councilmember Brenda Hughes.
Bow your head with me, please. Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts for this community, its people, and its resilience. Thank you for the privilege of serving and for the responsibility to care for one another. We ask for your guidance over this council. Grant us wisdom in our decisions, patience in our discussions, and unity in our purpose. Bless our law enforcement officers and first responders who serve with courage and deep commitment to protecting others. We ask that you continue to watch over them and bless their families. Father, we are grateful for the opportunity to serve and to be part of work that truly matters. Remind us always that leadership is about serving others, doing what is right, and putting community above self. May the good we do bless this place we all call home. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll remember it in a few minutes.
Who will be doing our announcements of community interest this evening?
Sorry about that, Mayor.
Who will be doing announcements of community interest?
I'm actually going to give some exciting news, and we are going to follow up with some of the announcements at a later time. But as of today, really, effective yesterday, Martin Greenwell has accepted the communications manager position. And so he is the Wizard of Oz back there, and you'll start seeing him transition more into the communications manager role.
Thank
So,
you.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can we
Thank
give him a round
you.
of applause?
Hey.
Since he's back there.
All right, does any council member have a community interest?
Well, May 16th, the Smithsonian comes to town and will be here for 6 weeks. It will be an exhibit on our town and the fact that we are a place of innovation. And that's the name of it, Spark, a place of innovation. From the 16th to June 28th, it's free. It's at the Kerrville Arts and Cultural Center every day until the 28th, starting on May 16th.
Thank you. Jeff?
I do, yes, sir. Not from a council standpoint, but from a opportunity I was able to take part in yesterday. And I just want to say thank you to Chief McCall, Chief Maloney, to you, sir, for coming out and leading us in our invocation. Rotary had their first responders fundraiser yesterday at River Hill, and we had instead of a shotgun start, we had a siren start because the police sent us off. I thought one guy was going to start running, but we told him it was okay. And Chief Maloney brought the ladder truck out with the American flag on it, which was a
That was really
very nice touch. Instead of giving a pledge to a small flag, we had about a 20 by 60 flag to do that too. So, but thank you for praying as well, sir.
Yeah, Ethan? Brenda?
The county had a free rabies drive this last weekend, and Kerrville Pets Alive paid for 300 rabies vaccinations. So we have 300 Kerr County pets, at least, that got vaccinated this weekend.
Great, thank you. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Let's move into presentations. We'll start with Kerrville Firefighter of the Year, Chief Maloney.
Mayor and Council, Matthew, if you'll head on up front in front of everyone. So we had an engine company, please. So we had an engine company here too. They just picked up a box alarm, so they did have to leave. But tonight I have the honor to recognize our firefighter of the year, Matthew Winke. Matthew joined Kerrville Fire Department as a firefighter in June 2021, earned his paramedic certification in 2024. He's a field training officer and, most important, a Tybee graduate. Today, we honor our firefighter of the year, someone whose growth, dedication, and professionalism truly set the standard. When Matthew first joined the Kerrville Fire Department, like many young firefighters, he was still finding his footing. So what makes him deserving of this award is the remarkable growth he's shown since that time. Matthew has matured into a firefighter who takes real pride in his craft and embodies the values of a department every day. Today, Matthew is a go-to firefighter for training and has even led shift-level training sessions. He's earned the role of field training officer, a position that represents trust, accountability, and professionalism. As a field training officer, Matthew shapes new firefighters, teaches the standard, and models the behaviors we expect in every member of our team. Whether on a medic unit or a fire engine, Matthew can always be counted on to lead by example, performing his duties with skill and pride, and be a dependable hand when it matters the most. He is exactly the firefighter you want paired with a new team member, someone who teaches the craft the right way and helps others grow into confident, capable professionals. Matthew's commitment, growth, and leadership reflects the very best of what we hope to see in our firefighters. Matthew also earned the Citation of Valor for his courageous efforts to rescue and evacuate citizens along G Street on the 4th of July. These are a few of Matthew Winke's outstanding qualities and traits that earned him the 2025 Firefighter of the Year.
Congratulations. As I take a picture, tell us a little bit about your experience.
Overall for the course
This
of-
year.
So this year, of course, was a tough year for everybody. Fire department was a rough year, I would say. Bunch of highs, bunch of lows at the same time, but, you know, everybody's just pulling their weight, making sure, you know, the day keeps on going on.
Good.
So,
Well, congratulations. Thank you for all you and your crews do for us. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You ready? Shake a hand.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. No worries. What's next?
Parks and Rec.
Advisory Board members.
Why don't we go out of order on that?
Okay.
You might want
Do a
to.
Do the
proclamation.
proclamation on
Mhm.
Dark
International
Sky.
Dark Sky.
Yeah.
If you're here with International Dark Sky Week, can you come up and join me, please? All right, turn out the lights.
Yep.
Come on up. All right. There you go. So, this is a proclamation of the city of Kerrville, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna ask each of you to introduce yourself and tell us why you think Dark Sky is important. And then, we'll get a picture and we'll be. Let me read it first. This is a proclamation of the city of Kerrville. Whereas the aesthetic beauty and wonder of star-filled skies are the heritage of all humankind and locally to the inhabitants of Kerrville and are therefore worthy of celebration. And whereas the experience of standing beneath the star-filled night sky inspires feelings of wonder and awe and may encourage interest in science and nature, especially among young people. And whereas preserving the rich historic heritage and starry night skies of Kerrville is important to its citizens. And whereas light pollution, which is wasted energy that performs no function or task, and artificial light that goes where it is not supposed to go, creates glare, light trespass, sky glow, and overlighting it. Whereas the historical view of the night skies has been eroding in many nearby areas, and generations are growing up with limited, if any, view of the wonders of the universe. And whereas hill country communities are increasingly dedicated to the preservation of the region's night skies by increasing numbers of places in our region recognized as Dark Sky International Places by Dark Sky International. And whereas on December 13th, 2022, the Kerrville City Council passed resolution number 81-2022, stating intent to become a certified Dark Sky International community. And on January 24th, 2023, ordinance number 2023-03 regulating outdoor lighting was passed to preserve the Hill Country night skies. And whereas this regional effort and preservation of our night sky is worthy of a week-long celebration. Now therefore, I, Joe Herring, as mayor of Kerrville, Texas, do hereby proclaim April 13th through 20th, 2026 as International Dark Sky Week and encourage all citizens to enjoy, celebrate, and preserve the night sky.
I'm Jean Nunnally. I am a member of Kerr County Friends of the Night Sky. And dark skies are important to me. It's one of the reasons I moved here, because I like to, you can see the sky. And because I'm a plant nerd and a master naturalist, I really like the fact that dark skies are important for our plants. Everything needs a night, and our animals, so, and as well as human beings. So.
Thank you.
I'm Cheryl Pender. I am also a member of the Kerr County Friends of the Night Sky. I joined many years ago this network of people, of like-minded people that look up, and the wonder of the night is something that is it's awe-inspiring for me. And I want everybody to see the Milky Way.
My name's Sherry O'Neill, and I'm also a member. I'm a new member, about a month, so I am learning. But I came from a very large city where we were lucky to see the North Star, if anything. So when we came to Kerrville in 2019, I was just thrilled. I'm an astronomy nerd, so I'm just thrilled to be part of this organization, and I'm looking forward to spreading the word.
Well, I am Sherry Egloff. I am a new member as of today. And I have joined because two things. One is I experienced the dark sky. A friend of mine lived in Tucson, and that's where this all started. Anyway, and we visited him many years ago, and it was amazing experience to sit out on his patio in the complete darkness. Anyway, it was very nice. And the second reason I would say is that the quality of the sky has deteriorated considerably in the 18 years that I've lived here. I used to have a dog, and the dog used to be walked at night. So I was well aware of the sky, and it has diminished greatly, and I think we should change that.
Bill Rector. When I grew up, I used to lay down and look up at the Milky Way. Can't see that anymore. And in 2022, I helped this group at the city of Kerrville pass this ordinance and move toward becoming a dark sky city. And that's a commitment that we all have. And we're here tonight to move forward on that commitment.
So Todd Nunnally, I'm a member of Jean Nunnally. And so 5 years ago, we could be out on our veranda and we could observe the Ring of Saturn. And today we can. So just facing Kerrville in just 5 years has changed that much. You know, the parking lot at the hospital, the state hospital, massive amounts of reflective light. And so motivated to stop and improve. So,
Ms. Egloff, my dog likes to go out twice a night. Once when Orion's up, and the next time when
Oh, the Venus.
the next time when I was going to make a joke and I've lost it already. But anyway, I get to see two different.
Twice. Yeah, I had a dog who was, well, he passed away recently, but he was 16, and every 4 hours they had to walk him. Anyway, I was out there and I observed a lot.
I remember. The second time he goes out, it's Scorpios up.
There
All
you
right.
go.
So thank you for what you're doing, and thank you, congratulations
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
I'm glad you came tonight. Thank you for being here. And shake a hand with the
And thank you for what you did yesterday.
I'm digging this. I want the tie.
That is a great tie.
Thank you. Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
Doing what you're
Yes, ma'am.
doing.
Thank you.
Doctor? Oh, thank you.
Up for all your efforts.
Thank you for the work. That's good.
So sad.
Oh, it's good to meet you.
All right. Oh,
Perfect.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, you're dismissed. Thank you. All right, now, do we have the parks?
We do, we have them.
Come on up. Lisa and Russell, and Kate's not here tonight. All right. So, one of the more active boards in our community is the Parks and Rec Board, and these two have served faithfully and well, but they are rotating off, and so we're honoring you tonight for your service. What I'd like to do is read a little bit of this, and then ask each of you to reflect on your time on the board. Is that fair enough? Okay, here we go. Whereas Lisa Nye Saladin and Russell Nimke have served as members of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, where they have served faithfully and dutifully, now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Kerrville, Texas, that they are recognized for outstanding service as members of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and that on behalf of the citizens of Kerrville, as well as for ourselves individually, we wish to express our very sincere appreciation for these contributions to our city. So thank you very much. Here's yours.
So I was actually looking back, and I hope you don't mind, but I started serving on the Park and Recreation Advisory Board in 2000, April of 2000.
Wow.
And this is actually, I'm coming off my 20th year. So
Congratulations.
thank you. And I just want to commend all, I mean, there's a lot of parks directors, a lot of city councils, they keep reappointing me. And, you know, I do know that it's good to have new blood, but there's something to be said for a lot of institutional knowledge.
Correct.
And so I appreciate that. But I just want to say that all these years of serving on the Park and Rec Board and watching each different leadership of council and parks kind of build on the strength of the one before and really create an amazing, robust department that has been supported by council and supported by the citizens, and the amount of work that our Parks Department does is unbelievable. And with the support of council every time, standing behind them, it's just really great to be part of something that's so valued in our community and that has the ability to offer so much free activity to our citizens and to our visitors. And so it's been an honor to serve. I don't know if I'll be back again, but you know, you may see my name. You know, we're obviously still working. We volunteer, we built and maintain all the trail at Kerrville Shrine Park. We just formed a nonprofit, the Texas Hill Country Trails Alliance, and we're gonna be working on fundraising for Singing Wind Park and some of the amenities, signage at Kerrville Shriner and things like that. So anyway,
Thank you so
I'm
much.
gone, but I'm not
You're still
disappeared.
Thank you. Russell.
Thank you very much. I just first wanted to say thank you, everybody, for my time on the board. It was great. Jay, thank you very much. I stepped in at a hard time, and I appreciate what you've done so far. And everybody will be able to see what he's going to present here in a little bit, which is great. The best thing I thought about our parks, and the reason why I joined, is because I think it's great for our visitors and our community to come join and see what we can do together in a public place. And I think we've seen that with the flood and like the lack of use of Louise Hayes Park, and now we're getting back into it. And I think it brings us all together, and I think that's what the community is about. And I appreciate my time on the board, and that's about it.
Thank you, Russell.
Thank you very much.
Let's get a picture. Let's get the red eye. Thank you.
Louis, you don't want a picture? Come on, man. Thank you very much.
It was great to have you on that board. Lisa, thanks for all you did
Russell.
and you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. 20 years.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks for your.
Thank you.
We need a parks update, Russell. Parks the Beaver.
Parks the Beaver. I failed to mention that in my speech. However, no one has seen him since. So. The Beaver, yeah. Yeah, but he's around.
All right, let's move straight into 2D, keeping on a parks theme. Mr. Bramhall.
After that, I better deliver. I am in a coat and tie. That's kind of the rule. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I feel like this is an interesting, every time I come in and I give one of these presentations, I always psych myself up and say, Jay, don't talk so much. Just let the presentation do the talking. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Lots of pictures. We'll discuss a few things. Hopefully, there's a lot of questions and that they're answered by the slides. However, if you have questions, please interrupt. So basically, the reason we're doing this presentation this evening is because it's been nearly 6 months since we visited with y'all and gave you an update. Man, and I remember in November how bleak things were still, but they were kind of coming back, and wanted to point out where we've gotten to since then and kind of how we're seeing things now and the prospectus and the outlook of what's to come. All right, Martin. This is a very large presentation. Oh, and it may take a minute to do what I'm telling it to do, so I beg your patience. All right, I wanted to start off with Guadalupe Park. Lots of people have asked about Guadalupe Park and where it's at, and again, it's loading slowly. I don't want to talk, I want the pictures to talk. That's why they're there. Anyway, Guadalupe Park, this is not going how I wanted it to go. There it is. I'm gonna go real slow and talk real nice to the computer, so hopefully I don't upset it. Guadalupe Park, I would say, is about halfway there. All of the concrete has been poured that we're going to pour. You can see right there is a nice, I don't know, I call that the playground skirting. That was kind of a limestone mishmash. It wasn't very nice looking, so we took the opportunity to dress it up, and there's going to be a large artistic mural right there that's going to be done. And we will be sure to let council know what that's going to look like prior to it being started. We're excited to have more art at our parks, but this is kind of a trial run for us. We kind of let Catherine actually recommended this artist, so we're dipping our toe into the art world, which is going to be fun. And they're going to match the color palette and the nature theme, the outdoors theme that everybody loves about the river. So we're looking forward to that. Next picture, let's see if it had long enough to load. Not so far. Man, that is slow. Okay, we made this park and the truly ADA friendly. We're going to have ADA benches, and that is an ADA ramp to get to an ADA bench and a table that is going to be there eventually. So folks with ADA considerations can truly take part in this playground, which is what it is designed to do. It's very slow. That is our slab for our basketball court. We are still trying to get the NBA to approve the artwork that's going to go down on that, but all 3 Texas teams plus the NBA gives and the Parks and Recreation logo will be its center court, and the others will be spread throughout. So it's going to be pretty neat looking. Looking forward to that. And we moved the ribbon cutting of this. This is new. I think I broke this maybe on Lewis's show. But the NBA reached out and said, hey, could you push that ribbon cutting back a little bit so we can have some NBA players go there and do a skills clinic, and I'm like,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
we can.
Yes. I can.
So, and it was actually kind of a blessing in disguise, because I know you know how ambitious that date was of the 24th. That's in a week and a half. So that was double good things came from the NBA saying, hey, could you, would you, maybe? And we're like, yeah, in a lot of ways, that's better. So.
Jay, I'm sorry to interrupt real quick. Are
You're
you
good.
gonna have goals at each end, or are you gonna have it the way it used to be across
It's going to be a full court, Jeff.
full court?
Or Councilman. Man, you have got me trained to call you Jeff.
Thank you.
Councilman Jeff.
I asked you to do it, so thank you.
So, yeah, it will be a full court. It will have benches and it will have places for people to hang out. We're trying not to go vertical here, because that is in an area that we can't build up. Those goals are small enough and round enough and provide enough flow through that if something were to hit them, probably there wouldn't be any issues. But people have asked us over and over again for a restroom out there. Can't do it. Here's the fun part. Let's see how long it takes to come up. The playground is relatively complete. Me and Ethan were out there last week. There need to be some punch list things that we do. However, it is an incredible addition. That is not what I did. This is going to be really laborious.
If you didn't tell us, we wouldn't know. So, just act like it's part of the show.
I've practiced this a few times, and so the deviation is getting me.
I understand.
I might have clicked that 2 or 3 minutes ago.
Okay.
This is not fun. Okay. We're just going, and good heaven's sake almighty. Okay, just a refresher. I'm going to use this, not this. This thing is going over here. Just a refresher on this map. This is the one that we presented to council in November. Catherine wanted me to point out that the memorial site is just a suggestion. Okay, that is to be decided by another group of folks, and it's going to be workshopped, and we will decide at a later date where that memorial is going to end up being. Where it's demarcated, there by where Guadalupe the Bass is just a suggestion. I imagine everybody remembers the layout, and staff is currently looking for funding. And if we acquire funds in patches, we're going to adopt a phased approach. We believe that the area with the parking lot, the playground, and the splash pad and the dog park, where we're going to talk about next, will be the first phase, and then we'll phase it in as we can. Okay, now this is the fun part. No, next slide. This is actually pretty cool too. So these are brand new renderings that we got of the new playground that will be up in the dog park area where it currently is. That is a Volo Air. I saw one of those at our conference in Orlando. There is so much play inside of this thing. It is going to be like a Disneyland playground.
You're going to have swings?
Swings are there, yes. Oh, you'll see it in the next slide.
See some. Sometimes they're intermittent.
Oh, you're going to see them animated in the next slide.
Oh, good.
Special.
Okay.
So there is our splash pad as it's designed. That was the most impactful shot. But here we're going to get into something even cooler. Maybe. So there's the dog park as it will be when this idea is implemented. Got a two-sided dog park, so your timid and your more normalized dogs can go in differently. There's an amphitheater in the middle. If you look at it from the air, that is right over Kerrville. There's your playground. There's the Volo Air that I spoke about. You got swings right there. You saw them get panned by right there. Pretty neat.
Like
you have a lot of ADA ability in this park also. So this will be the nicest playground for 100 miles in either direction.
Is
I
that
don't-
artificial turf on there?
Yeah, it will be turf, just like we've been using. It's way more cost effective and way less,
Right.
way more durable and way less, I don't like the spongy rubber stuff. You have to replace it too often and it's really expensive. I mean, I like it. It's just, I don't like what it costs and how often it costs that much. And I just wanted to stop it right here. Remember, there was a trout fish. We had them do a bass, so there's going to be a bass instead of a trout. I think I pointed that out to you that we were going to do it that way the last time, and we actually have it rendered
That's
now.
great.
So this is up kind of where the existing playground is a covered basketball court in Louise Hayes. We figured since we're going to have an enormous play space close, to make the most of that space by the volleyball courts and have programmable space for adult recreation and youth recreation also. That was a lot in about 1 minute and 13 seconds of a rendering. Are there any questions on that?
Where's the pavilion?
The pavilion. The pavilion is further to your left and up. It just like the existing pavilion? Yes. So it's right, gosh, if I can get the mouse to work, it's going to be up in this area here.
Okay. Okay.
I think it looks great. Thank you.
Timeline?
Show me the money.
Well, that was going to be my
Whenever
next
we
question.
can, when we can get the funding, we want to do this as soon as we can and think about it twice and cut once, but really the funding is the big part now. We've put a tentative price tag on this entire idea, not just here, but also the pickleball courts over by where the existing splash pad is at around 15 million. So in pieces, you're looking at pockets of probably up here is around 8 or 9, and then this other piece is maybe 1.5, and then the other piece is 1.5. Ish.
And where are we on the funding? Are we eligible for grants? Is that what's providing the funding for this?
We're looking for grants. We have a lot of strategies that we're employing and a lot of people that we're talking to. We're not at liberty to really talk about that right now. Information will be coming soon. We have some very good leads that we're following up on.
If you need any help with that, let us know.
Oh, we'll let you know. We want to get this done. This is game changing for the community. I didn't realize in the community where we did something on a smaller scale but similar, how much it would change the community for the better. And it has, and this is bigger. This will change Kerrville forever. So we're taking the opportunity for, to pivot on tragedy and make something that the community needs. Any other questions before I move on? I'm going to move on now. All right, this is an important one. So who is Ceres? Talk about the Ceres partnership. Y'all may know who Ceres is, but the public at large may not know who Ceres is. Ceres has been our partner throughout, almost since day one of this cleanup, the debris removal. And they handled the debris removal in the riverbed. And they have continued to be our partner outside of those parameters. And they are still here, and they are still helping. This was maybe a month and a half ago. They found a propane tank, and they removed it. They helped us get the trail, the river trail, tidied up so that we could open it from the Lemos Bridge to the Dietert Center. If you remember, there was a lot of erosion up by this section of the trail, and they were the ones who brought it back. There were lots of successful cleanups and everything. We've had people out there because we were able to get the trail open in December. It was on December 22nd. I remember talking with our mayor, and we wanted to give that get that open for the community around Christmas time, and it worked out perfectly. So just the ongoing commitment to restoration across the park system. We will get to some slides later where they're helping us clean up. If you've seen the beach at Kerrville Shriner Park, they're also our active partner in that.
Jay, I have a question.
Sir.
That section. Around Shriner Park, so Bike MS has just last week decided to change from New Braunfels to Kerrville as their overnight. So they'll ride from San Antonio to Kerrville and finish in the
Oh.
They sent the routes for me to look at, but they had the routes using both the river crossing at Shriner and the bridge that got wiped out.
Oh, I'm getting there.
Okay.
We will talk about it.
Their ride is in October.
It's not going to be ready.
We have a festival in October, just, yeah, another reason to come.
I would love to tell you that it would be ready. But even under, if we were to have gotten everything in our ducks in a row on August 1st, it wouldn't have been ready. Just engineering, fabrication, installation, and bidding it out. I mean, that adds a lot of, purchasing policies for cities. It adds time, things. And I wanted to show you that this was perfect because there's the bridge right there in Kerrville Park. So Rosa found this in a map from above after the flood, and me and Ethan got in a rowboat, took a little trip upstream and found the bridge. Cheatham, through Ceres, our partner, took that bridge out off of private property. I got asked many times, is it able to be reused? It's not. That would be really cool though if it were. So that's where the bridge was with the red circle. That's the one that we're rebuilding, and that is going to start being bid out. It's been engineered. Will start being bid out maybe next week. So 2 to 3 weeks for that, and then about 8 months for fabrication puts us right around the beginning of the year. So what's that? I wish there were, because that is the last piece that connects all of the river trail together.
Is the water crossing at Shriner open?
It will be. You are tracking with my my presentation. Wanted to recognize the Community Foundation for their financial contributions with this project. They provided funding for this bridge to be remade and reinstalled for the connectivity of the trail. And they also, a lot of benches and trash receptacles were washed out, and they paid for that also. So again, we talk about partnerships a lot, and the Community Foundation has been a key partner here. Any questions on that? There's a picture of Ethan. All right, this is a fun one too. This one's ongoing. They've got a few more days left down there, but it's come a long way. If y'all remember, it was pretty messed up. And one day as we were kind of transitioning away from the river trail, we're like, okay, now we have to start with KSP and getting this redone. And so Ceres is leading that charge, again, speaking with city officials and working with them. And our opening time for this area is May or June. So next 6 weeks, hopefully, we'll have that open. I think just a topsoil dress and some hydroseeding needs to happen on that, and just, it's kind of some last polish by staff to make that available, to open that up again to the public.
Looking good.
It is looking good. One thing, Mayor and Council, that we are concerned with and we are addressing frontally is cleaning up the stuff that we might not be able to see in the water. Y'all have seen that happening at Hayes. I think they're under the library footbridge right now. So that's ongoing. We've got 4 target areas for that group to really hit. The first one is down here just by volume. That's the first area that needs to be hit at Louise Hayes and Lehman Monroe. All the way up to the Lemos Bridge, maybe a little bit past it by Town Creek. And then the second area is KSP. And the third area is going to be by the dam, the Nimitz Dam, down beneath that. And then the fourth area is right by where the bridge, the Camp Meeting Creek Bridge is. I call it CMC. If you see that abbreviation, Camp Meeting Creek is CMC. And so those areas are the ones that we're focusing on first. By no means is that the last. That's where we get the most volume. That's where the most little feet are gonna be. And we do encourage folks to wear shoes. Again, I think people know that. It's even more important now, wear your Crocs, wear your Tevas, wear your water socks or sandals if you're gonna address the water this summer, because a lot of these areas will be open and will be utilized. Please, 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 if you didn't bring shoes, don't just wander in. Go home, go to Academy when it's open, go to Walmart when it's open, get some shoes, address the water properly. This was covered in probably 18 inches of soot, river bottom silt. We're using that as top dressing for the beach, so we didn't have to buy it, which was great. So yeah, we're repurposing that and using that in the same environment, same ecosystem. We didn't do that. So a lot of these areas that you're seeing, they were 20 feet high in debris. This is what they look like now. I still love seeing these blue marks on the trees. That means that my staff and myself and all of the public works guys who worked on assiduously to save trees, we were successful. People may not want to see those blue marks. I kind of get emotional when I see them. You'll see them on a lot of trees for a long time, unfortunately, but that means they were saved. We know what contractors who get paid by the pound do. We knew that. Not to relive what we talked about already. I'm just really proud of our being able to save as many trees as we could. There were other areas of the river that were not so fortunate. So we've had several volunteer days since we last met, taking crud out of the river bottom. Here's a nice picture of it. I love watching little kids with families out there, kind of with hats and coats on in the cold and being good citizens. I really like to show that picture of Steph. That's right there in Louise Hayes Park. I think it's on the Lehman Monroe side. But here you see, you have a lot of concrete with rebar. That stuff is living in the water. That's what we're trying to get out. We do not want kids to step on that, wear shoes. It'll save your bacon. Please, please, please. We're doing our best to get it cleaned out. Just a little bit about the Nimitz Lake and the TDEM coordination that's going on. That's going to be kind of a moving target for us. Michael knows a little bit more about it. If you have questions, ask him, but I can say that we're trying to work around them. We have an event in September in the triathlon where we use Nimitz Lake. We're going to try to work around the folks who are doing this debris cleaning. Mary, you posted this photo this morning. I thought it was great, so I used it. I asked him for permission. But you can see on that barge.
Blanket permission, it's fine.
What's that?
You have blanket permission.
Well, I know I have blanket permission, but I'm still going to ask the mayor if I can use his photos.
That was this morning, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The one on the left.
Yes. And you can see all of the organic debris that they're pulling out of the lake. So it's
And
a
how long do you expect them to be working on Nimitz Lake?
So I have that in the second bullet point. Variables may push the lake cleanup into 2027. We just don't know.
Wow,
Nimitz
okay.
Lake is very, very large. It's 14 times larger than Ingram Lake,
Mhm.
and that took a lot longer than they expected, and it's
Okay.
still not done.
So, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Besides that propane tank, what other things have you found of mention that would be interesting? I would be curious. I know I see the trees and the stumps, and I saw the rebar. And anything else? No cars?
Anything
or-
fun? No, we haven't found. We found things that were probably buried by other floods, and we've just kind of left them alone,
Oh, okay.
just because, you know, tactically, it's, you know, a car is hard to get out of the ground, and there are cars there. We found, or parts of them. I mean, we can't really tell what it is, but we know that it had been there for a long time. We just kind of leave stuff there. A lot of these cleanups here were on private property. UGRA was very meticulous in acquiring permissions from people. And a lot of this was taken out of the private property, so not just the public property, which is awesome. I mean, we love it when our public property gets cleaned, but I really love it when it all gets cleaned up.
Yeah, of course.
And I did want to mention also that we do have a coordination effort going on with the Trash-Free Gulf. And I think on May 30th, that last Saturday of May, there will be an army of people in kayaks cleaning up along the water's edge. So that is, again, there are a lot of them, a lot of volunteer efforts happening for cleanup of the river. All right, we're going to pivot on the flood-related stuff into stuff that's flood-related of a different kind, maybe some underground flooding from pipes. So we found out a couple months ago that our pool was not going to be open this season. That hurts our heart, and that's going to delay the opening until next year. And staff is currently working on some alternative programming efforts that we will brief, the council on soon, so that our kids can, our community kids can swim this summer. And we wanted to get some details worked out before we brought that to the council, but I put something on the agenda for our next council meeting for that. And last but not least, Singing Winds Park. We've had a little bit of discussion about this from Lisa. But we did complete a master plan in December for the trails portion of Singing Wind. And it's a $600,000 project. And if you really think about that, I know that's a lot, Michael, but it's not that much when it comes to the benefit that having a trail system like this has to a community. We have the pay for stuff, the stuff that costs at KSP, and Lisa's been amazing at developing that. There was actually a NICA, National Interscholastic Cycling Association, race there a few weeks ago that drew 1,300 people, most of whom did not know that that park existed, and now they do. And so with the free element, you have the pay for element at KSP, with the free element at Singing Wind, you have a stop in town for people to come and plan vacations to, because we have these resources. So I know it's a big price tag, but we've got wonderful people who are helping to raise those funds so that we can get this project going. And there's a lot going on at Singing Wind too with the pool. I've got a meeting this week scheduled for a new playground out there, some renderings of that. So we're starting to get to the point where we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we have to start focusing on our other parks and our other resources in town. So I wanted to put this in here just to assure council that we are doing that. If there are other things that council sees that we need to focus on, please, most of you up there have my number, and if you don't have it, you can get it real easy. So schedule some time, talk with me, call me, text me. Brenda likes to pop by from time to time. So I have an open door policy, and thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Jay?
No, I just have a comment. You know, these quality of life projects, they're expensive, but they're needed, and any grant money we can get for those, it's really the human connection that you find when you get outdoors and you get with your family and you get with your friends. And realistically speaking, quality of life projects have so many benefits from prospective employers or businesses coming to town, because a community that invests in itself shows outsiders that you know, we're on our game, and we're here for the long term, and we care about our people and our future generations. So I'm really, really excited to see this, and I'll be, even though I'm leaving council, I'll be keeping in touch with you to see how things are going with these projects, because they are important.
Kent, anything?
Thank you for all you've been doing, not just this presentation, which was great, by the way. But thank you. Tell your team thank you, too.
Yes,
Will
thank
do.
you to you and your team and also the Parks Board. Thank you for your work on this too. You know, echoing what Brenda said, our park system is one of the things in my mind that makes Kerrville a great place to live. And I appreciate not only the foresight, planning, and even reimagining of our parks that has been going on since the flood, but also the programming. I mean, you've had movie nights, you've had the bicycle, the bicycle event at Kerrville Shriner Park. Stuff is still going on. And there was a skating competition recently. So thank you for keeping that going because it's important to so many people. Please tell your crew thank you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, if there are no other questions, we'll move to the next item. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good presentation, I appreciate it. Next, Visitor Citizen Forum. Do we have anyone signed up?
We do have one signed up, George Broody.
Mr. Broody. Oh, there he is. Come on in, George.
George Broody, 1616 Glen Road. We're going to talk a little bit about water. Martin, can you cue up that slideshow I talked to you about? Oh, I'm just kidding. So really, I'm just kidding. So I am talking about water, but so the reuse program that's being proposed and whatnot, ideally it's something, no matter how it's done, it's scalable, sustainable, and cost effective, right? And in the past, when the contractor talked to us about our deficit, which really just means in a drought situation, you don't have enough, you will likely not have enough to meet the demand. They identified that it's, at this time, it was 2019, it was 500,000 gallons a day, basically amounts to about 500 acre feet. Okay, fine. The method you guys are proposing is really just going to close that gap, if in fact you can get the permits to do it. And so my suggestion is that what you're proposing right now is not necessarily scalable. And looking at the methods that you have two of them proposed to you for indirect potable reuse. One of them is small cost up front, but it's limited by that 500,000 gallons per day. To get it to where it needs to be, you're right back into the mode of everything else. And it ends up, according to the numbers you guys presented, it's actually more cost effective to take the south route long term. The only year that the only size that the north route is cheaper or cost effective is that first stage, that first 500,000 gallons. So it's not really, you're kind of capped at a certain point. So you might want to kind of think about that because we're kind of putting ourselves in a hole. The other is, why are we doing the design work when we don't have the permits in hand yet? Unless you've gotten them since the last time I heard. My guess is the diversion point is a no-brainer. But the second part of that, the amended water rights one, unless you're able to actually, quote unquote, bank that water, it's really not helping us because it's not impacting our, what they call firm yield, right? And so I would urge you to do the due diligence to make sure you get that permit before you go much further. The last thing is we talked about this when we brought up Whiskey Canyon. This is all needed because of the potential for growth. We don't really need it until we're talking about growth. So it's actually a cost of growth. So when you bring on new developments that are increasing the population and increasing the growth, you got to stop giving away the money that's designed to pay for this growth. And so this is a direct cause, is caused directly by the growth at Whiskey Canyon, the growth at Lennar. And yet we've chosen to incentivize that growth by giving away the money that's expressly designed to bring here. Another cost that we've given away is the current reuse water delivery system. It has always been a giveaway. It's not paying for itself, not even to deliver it. The cost of delivery is way more than what's being paid. I would urge you to revisit those because unless you're not really supposed to be giving away service anyways, revisit those. Those also would be paying directly into water production in these fashions. Excuse me?
Your time is complete.
Okay, well, that's good because I'm done.
All right. Anybody else?
No, sir?
All right, thank you. Next is the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered routine and can be passed in one motion. Any item can be removed by a member of council, by staff, or the public. Does anybody care to remove an item from the consent agenda? Anybody else? All right, is there a motion then on the consent agenda?
I'll move we approve consent agenda items 4A, 4B, 4C, and 4D.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote, and it passes unanimously. Thank you. The next is an ordinance and a public hearing. Let's start with reading in the ordinance, please.
Yes, sir. Ordinance number 2026-07, an ordinance amending Chapter 60 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kerrville, Texas, such chapter more commonly known as the City Zoning Code, by amending said code to include adding new definitions, revising setbacks, and the off-street parking schedule, adding new supplemental development requirements, revising the land use table, and other amendments as provided herein, providing a cumulative clause, providing for severability, providing an effective date, ordering publication, and providing other matters relating to the subject. There are no citizen speakers signed up. However, this is a public hearing.
Thank you, ma'am. What I think we'll do before the public hearing is we'll hear from staff, ask questions of staff, and then open the public hearing. Mr. Paxton.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Just a reminder, this is one of our Kerrville 2050 plan implementation items to ensure that development services, processes, and codes are not impediments to development or redevelopment. So over the last several years, staff has made note of things that have come up as issues for different projects and wanted to bring a collection of those to you today. Definitions, some land use table adjustments, residential code updates, mixed use zoning updates, and some parking ratios. I'm going to go over these fairly high level. Stop me at any moment and we can go through the ordinance in detail if needed. So amending the definition of artisan and craftsman workshop by removing the words by hand. This is still intended to be small scale artisan craftsman work. However, just acknowledging the innovations in technology these days, a lot of these craftsmen are still using small scale manufacturing materials and tools. Amending the definition for farmer's market, closely aligning with the current farmers markets that are in operation. Previous definition limited it to farmers or agriculture products. The farmers markets that are currently in operations are a mixture of crafts and cottage foods and agricultural items. So I wanted to expand that definition a little bit. Added definitions for all of these land uses. Most of these are existing on the land use table. However, they did not have a definition to go along with them. While many of them are pretty self-explanatory, it's always good to at least have the code define what those are. The new definition or new land uses and definitions are battery energy storage systems, data center, and a general retail category. For the residential districts, we're reducing the side corner setback for lots from 15 feet to 5 feet. Most of the areas in town were built with a 5-foot side setback on corner lots anyway. However, for the past 10 or 15 years, the code has required a 15-foot setback. And on those corner lots, that's quite an issue for those wanting to add on to their existing homes or a tear down and rebuild on existing lots. The newer subdivisions are having to make those in-lots that much wider just to get a standard type, size home on it. The accessory dwelling units, reducing the parking ratio from 2 spaces down to 1. Many of the requests that we've had for ADUs, the biggest issue they run into is trying to get 4 parking spaces total in the front yard. The curb cut cannot be that wide to accommodate 4 cars, so either has to be deep enough to double stack the driveway, and then obviously you've got issues getting cars in and out when they're double stacked. And then also clarifying that accessory dwelling units do qualify for a reduction in setback based on size as an accessory building. So they're currently required a 25-foot rear setback. By acknowledging that they are accessory buildings, if they're less than 1,000 square feet, they can actually have a 5-foot rear setback. In the mixed-use zoning, we're recommending removal of the concept plan requirement and a traffic impact analysis and the open space requirement. So the current code already has your development regulations, height requirements, setbacks, and parking requirements. So for a new zone case, the concept plan is kind of doubling the effort of the applicant when they may not have the final details in place. That's why they're asking for the zoning. Without the concept plan and all those associated uses identified, you cannot do a traffic impact analysis. And the few projects that we've looked at for mixed use, overwhelming request to remove the open space requirement. The code currently requires 8% of the property be developed as open space, publicly accessible, and privately maintained. So a lot of the developers have had major issues with their investors and financiers on having publicly accessible property on private land that they have to insure and maintain. Instead, they will just pay into the Parkland Dedication Fund, like other apartments. Along with adding the battery energy storage system and data centers to the code in the land use table, recommending the supplementary requirements, prohibiting them from within 100 feet of the 100-year floodplain and within 500 feet of Nimitz Lake impoundment area. Between 1,000 feet and 500 feet of the floodplain would be a conditional use. So this is similar to a lot of the automotive and other environmentally sensitive uses that we have in the code.
But can I make a comment about that? It is a little different from that. And what about our concerns about residential neighborhoods?
Oh, a setback from residential? We could consider that.
Same with the data center, which is the next one. I know I can't rely on this, but I saw a 60-minute segment on the data centers and other places Sunday, and it's concerning on several ways. It is, like whether it's fires or
Water usage.
disbursement of water. So I guess rather than just the floodplain, I would like to see maybe some thought put into taking care of what's around these particular facilities.
Okay. Happy to do some more research and bring that back for a workshop, because that will have to go back to the Planning Commission. But we'll go ahead and, up to council obviously, go ahead and adopt this, get it in the zoning code, and then we can come back for additional consideration.
I mean, I think they're good, we need them, but where we put them just should be very well scrutinized, in my opinion, so.
I just want to, I understand a lot of thought went into this, but why are we even allowing either a data center or a battery storage? Are we
We are not required to. They are in the proposed update to the land use table as a conditional use only. So they would be looked at case by case in the industrial zoning district.
I would like to not even have it offered.
Okay.
Problem's the water, really, isn't it?
Right.
They don't really have the water.
They would come up with a way to, a data center that created its own water and created its own energy. It'd be wonderful, but that doesn't exist.
Right.
That and the battery storage is just another nightmare in itself that.
Okay, we'll come back to that on the land use table.
I just don't know that we even want it to be a permitted use.
Right.
In the city limits, that's kind of seemed like kind of a stretch. I mean, maybe there's some place to put it, but it's the water, I think.
Okay. And then
Power.
And power.
additional supplementary requirements for a farmer's market that they shall not be on a vacant or unimproved lot. Obviously, the ones that are
Why
operating.
is that, Drew?
Curb cut access, appropriate parking, restroom facilities possibly. We just don't want a vacant, undeveloped lot to just become a mess before and after.
Okay.
Parking ratio for multi-tenant buildings. The current code, each time there's a tenant change, we have to check the parking ratio again to the existing building and existing parking. There have been a few scenarios where a tenant has wanted to move into an existing building, but the shopping center didn't have enough parking for that new use. So similar to other cities, we're recommending a separate multi-tenant parking ratio, assuming that you have overlap in hours or shared use. One customer may go to multiple places within a shopping center. So we're actually recommending for multi-tenant buildings, 1 parking space for every 250 square feet. Buildings over 20,000 square feet, reduce that to 1 parking space for every 300 square feet. And then your typical uses in those multi-tenant buildings, you can see there, range from 1 to 100 to 1 to 300. So a couple of examples in town, the shopping center where Jersey Mike's is. They've had problems filling some of those spaces because they are short on parking. The building meets the parking ratio when they built it as a shell building, assuming office space. They have not been able to put office space in it, so looking at other retail or restaurant uses, they do not meet the parking ratio. Another one, working on a project, existing shopping center, wanting to add a pad site out front. With this change, they would actually be able to add the pad site. Without this change, they would be about 9 spaces short, and we're looking to either seek a variance through the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Right now, they're going to wait and see if this is approved. But it's a very small pad site, one of the little drive-through restaurants, but just a couple of examples where this actually is going to show some benefits pretty quickly. And land use table. So what we can do based on council's recommendation is not listed as a permitted or conditional use. Keep it on the land use table so that it is a defined land use, but show that it is not allowed in any zoning district. And that would need to be specific in your motion. Any other questions?
I think some of the intent on some of the changes is to allow more flexibility in housing options.
That's correct.
Not only the ADUs, but some of the parking requirements and some of the setback requirements. That fits another portion of the 2050 plan. In other words, to increase the housing stock available within existing neighborhoods. I think I'm a little bit more concerned with the retail changes. Why? I mean, you've given us one example. But has there been a clamor for these changes across the community or just at that one site?
No, we've had 4 or 5 that have had to be particular about what tenants can go in that shopping center because of the parking ratio changes between office. You know, if you have an office building, if it's a general office building, it's 1 to 300. If they convert to a small medical office, it may not have enough parking anymore. As you get into the restaurant side, obviously it adds even more parking requirement. And so rather than having an existing building remain vacant because nobody can backfill it based on parking, it allows the tenant, the property owner, and the market to really decide if that's a good location for that space or not.
Those requirements were put in place for supposedly a good reason, I guess, to have enough space. Are we gonna really end up having enough parking spaces in these places, or we're just lowering them and then that overflow?
There is potential for a parking issue depending upon how large the building is. And, I mean, the example with Jersey Mike's, if you put 4 restaurants in there, obviously there wouldn't be enough parking. But to allow the restaurant and to allow an office space to still be able to go in, because right now the restaurant is taking up more than half of the parking spaces allotted to that property. So it'd still be up to the property owner and the tenants to find that balance.
Sounds like we're just lowering our standards, and whether that's really all that wise or not is a question.
I have noticed in my experience in the downtown area that people believe parking comes with their automobile. It's a right, not a privilege. And even though there's a multi-story parking building in the downtown area, they want to park right in front of something.
Right.
Or on private property in some cases. Is this going to exacerbate that issue where people will just be, again, Jersey Mike's? Will they be parking next door? Will they be, what will be the net result of making these changes? Will it allow more flexibility for the landowner or the landlord, or will it actually cause problems for the neighbors of the property?
Excuse me. I've seen both cases, depending upon what the scale of the property is kind of really the key. That's why we put that different parking ratio for larger properties. Not specifically in Kerrville, but I've seen other properties that one tenant actually would require all of the parking spaces, but based on a change in hours, that was a nighttime use that would require all the parking. The rest of them were more of your daytime retail uses. And so that allowed the balance of that property owner to balance those tenants accordingly. So it really puts it back on the market to dictate that. Anecdotally, across the state, there is a drive to reduce the parking requirements. So ours are pretty on par with most cities, minus the multi-tenant allowance.
Well, I mean, I'm trying not to allow my personal experience with parking in the downtown area color my view on this.
Right.
But I am concerned that if you decrease the requirements, it'll be the neighbors that will suffer, not the landowner or the landlord, or even the business.
Right.
Because those cars they are like mushrooms in springtime. They just pop up.
So, in your case of the sandwich shop, and the restaurant's taking up half of the spaces, well, they've got the least requirement, just 1 per 100 square feet, right?
That's the highest requirement. So 1 space for every 100 square feet.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So the office general would be 1/3 of the parking requirement as a restaurant.
Has this been a part of a workshop for us? Is this the first we're seeing? Do we have a workshop? on this?
We talked about it in January. Or
In very general terms, I think we just wouldn't.
it was generally talked about adding a multi-tenant parking. Yes, we had not established the number of parking that would be required.
So, we've kind of talked about that a little bit. Could we go back to the 50-foot setbacks on the residential areas?
Sure.
So where does that work? So the lots, they don't go to the street. So there's sidewalks and there's space. So the setback would be more from the sidewalk than from.
Right, we measure setback from the property line. So from the back of curb to the property line on average is about 10 feet. And then another 5 feet beyond that for the structure.
I'm sorry, did you say that last again? So what's 10 feet and then?
So from the back of curb to the property line
Okay.
is on average around town 10 feet. We measure the setback from the property line, so it'd be an additional 5 feet from the back of curb, so 15 feet off the back of curb. Current requirement is 15 feet from the property line. And most of the existing development in town was actually built with a 5-foot setback. So even a property owner right now wanting to do an addition to the home can't meet the 5-foot setback for the existing house, and the addition has to meet the 15-foot setback. So for infill projects, it's been a real problem.
Most of those lots are pretty small anyway.
Correct.
Other comments or questions for Mr. Brain just went away.
I want to go back to the square footage slide there. Because I'm going to use my own experience with these numbers here, because when we opened a restaurant, it was an existing restaurant. Then we had a fire, we had to rebuild, which put us in a position where we had to meet the newest code.
Right.
At the time, the code was 1 parking space for every 150 square feet of building area, okay? But they had also encompassed closets and bathrooms when the code used to not encompass, it only encompassed dining room area.
Okay.
Okay, now its overall building square footage was lumped into that number, and all of a sudden, we didn't have enough parking spaces and could not reopen.
Right.
How does this affect, for specifically restaurants? If they have to have 1 space for every 100 square feet of overall building square footage, then if you've got 1,000 square feet, which is pretty small, you got to have 10 parking spaces. So what that's going to do really is limit areas where restaurants can be, okay? And potentially that downtown area, which is kind of a hub for restaurants, is going to run into, when a new tenant takes over, meeting that requirement, and you may be pushing your restaurants out of that downtown area.
Well, one clarification for the downtown core, because of the parking garage, we do not require any parking downtown.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to affect the downtown. 429 spaces within walking distance to most of the.
Okay, so how does that affect the Arby's location?
Well, that's a single tenant building. Excuse me. Since that's a single tenant building, this wouldn't apply. So it would just be 1 parking space for 100 square feet under the current code. So the only change here is the multi-tenant allowance.
Okay.
The other 4
Okay.
are current.
So a single restaurant does not fall under these?
It would be 1 to 100 for the single restaurant. And that's in the current code.
About talked me out of that 100, but if you have 900 square feet, it's a restaurant, you could have
Nine, yeah.
parking
9
spots.
spaces.
In an
Yeah.
office space, you only have to have 3,
Correct.
Yep.
so there's less required for an office. I still
Yeah.
think I'm back to my original question.
Right.
Is that if the restaurant at 1 per 100 is using half, there's
Yeah.
there's hardly room for anybody else to park.
Right.
Even at 1 for 300, anyway, I'd have to see the numbers on the particular property, but the restaurant is using up way more than is shared at 1 to 100.
And
I mean, I think, I guess what it would be helpful would be, like you just did, had some examples for us, because I'm trying to think of some myself so that I can say this is good or this might need some tweaking. It might help to have the 5 or 6 examples you're aware of, or that are actually talking to you maybe right now for some help. Because I think about Jersey Mike's, you got me thinking about subs, so, okay,
Mhm.
Jersey Mike's, and you have empty space there, but if you put an office tenant in there, there's no park, I mean, it depends on the office. If it's a
Right.
tax office where there's 4 employees, maybe, that would work, but, so I guess I'm just mulling it over.
Councilmember Hughes brought up Arby's, but that's unique because it's not a go in and sit, and it's not a sub shop either, but, it's not a go in and sit because they didn't have a dining
Right.
room. It was a
Right.
drive-through. or
But they
pickup.
might, now that it's closed.
One I'm thinking about is right up here in Sidney Baker that's so tight to get in and out of. It's like the Baskin Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts is,
Mhm.
I don't know if, I went through there one morning to get stuff for the girls at work and it
Well, even
was so
Save
tight
In.
to get in. That Save In is another example of, but so we were in San Antonio Saturday and I noticed compact spots.
Mhm.
Is that taking into effect to this? But also where I was at, it said compact, but it was a full-size spot. So,
Yeah.
which I was like, okay, but,
I call it impact.
I mean, could we look at something like that to offset that a little bit maybe too, if we have compact, or is that?
The compact spaces is obviously accounting for a smaller vehicle. Usually that's because, one, that community has more compact vehicles than large trucks. I don't know that that's quite the case for Kerrville. It's a good amount of larger vehicles, SUVs, and full-size trucks. There's a few spaces in the parking garage that are labeled as compact, just because the turning radius is a little too tight. The full-size vehicle hangs out into the drive aisle too much. Our current code doesn't allow, or doesn't dictate compact parking spaces. That would save a little bit of physical space, but it doesn't change the number of spaces.
If we go back to additional dwelling unit and parking spaces, so you were going down from 2 to 1. We got any statistics on how many how many people are living in these, or it might be, because those maybe end up dumping on the street
Right.
as well.
They're typically small units, one-bedroom units that we've seen that are even asking to build one. So you could assume that it's one car for a one-bedroom unit.
It could be a couple, of course.
It could be. We're also kind of reading the legislative, trying to keep our pulse on the legislative changes. There have been some proposed bills to prohibit cities from even requiring parking for ADUs at all. So, seeing kind of the.
Thank God for the legislation.
Exactly. Those have not passed, but obviously there has been a bigger push for ADUs across the state. Like I said, some of the bills, cities can't regulate them at all, other than just building code. Some bills that reduced parking, reduced setbacks. So there is a continued push. We just want to make sure we're staying on par with that. The local people that have asked to build one, that's been the biggest problem, is the parking. Like, that room to fit one additional parking space on their existing home, but to fit 2 parking spaces, that is usually not feasible. So just trying to capitalize on some of those opportunities and add additional housing, especially the smaller scale, one-bedroom apartments. Felt that this would be a good recommendation.
All right. Are there other comments for Mr. Paxton? If not, I'm going to open up the public hearing. Open up the public hearing at 7:24. Anybody wish to speak?
George Brood again. So first thing is, one suggestion about the farmer's market would be just call them open air markets and stop trying to define what they sell. I was kind of asking the same question you asked about the unimproved lots. A benefit to having anything sit on an unimproved lot is what they call pop-up stores. So it kind of highlights the fact that this spot could be useful for something more permanent. So you might reconsider that. The other is something else. I'm not proposing it right now, but you should, I think, consider looking at allowing ADUs in all residential zones, for the simple fact that it's not so much about adding more housing units, it's about lowering the cost of housing for people, allowing them to use more of their property, right? And as for parking, there's a large push, not just in the state, but across the country, to eliminate parking requirements. For the simple fact that if, let's say I'm going to open a restaurant, and they're requiring me to have a certain number of parking spots, and if there wasn't a requirement and I was only allowed to have, I could only fit 2 spots there, the market's going to determine whether I make money doing that. So if I need a bunch of customers and they have nowhere to park, maybe they'll find a way to get to my store, maybe they won't. But the market will determine it. It's not really impacting anything. Until you start requiring or prohibiting street parking for free, then people will park on the street. Like he brought up the downtown, he also brought up the flipping schedules. I think it's Fort Worth that revitalized their downtown area by their office buildings going to sleep at night and them creating a nightlife using that same parking that's in their downtown area. So there's a lot of reasons to consider revamping your thinking on what parking requirements are really doing. They also are not as productive of a space. There's studies that show Walmart, for instance, because of their parking lot, is actually a less productive per acre property than our little downtown that seems unproductive as all get out, because it's dense and the property tax coming out is better than the sales tax and property tax coming from Walmart. So there's a lot of reasons to sort of steer away from some of these restrictions and just let the market figure it out. Anyways.
Anybody else? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:27. Council, I don't know if we are ready to actually vote tonight or if we want to take some time and think about it. So I'm happy to listen to what y'all would like to do. I'm hearing some consternation among you.
There's just a couple of issues that's part of it that makes me not want to vote for it right now. Not the whole thing, because there's got a lot of good things in here as well, but.
I think it brought up a few more questions than we had before, so.
Parking being one of them, yeah.
Perhaps having a workshop later, would that be happy?
Yeah.
Before May?
Or
Before,
before we lose somebody?
yes, sir.
You can do it.
Mr. Pax, you'd be available for a workshop?
Yeah, we can do it at your next meeting.
Even though we would still have to have 2 readings.
Correct.
All right, I think what I'm hearing then is that the consensus is that we don't actually take action on this tonight. Do we need a motion to that effect? Okay. So why don't we do that? Why don't we schedule a workshop next meeting if we have enough time at that time? And it'll give us some time to think about it. And in between time, if you have questions or concerns, direct them to Mr. Paxton so he can come to us prepared with answers rather than trying to put him on the spot.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on then to item 6A and 6B. These are eligible for executive session, and I personally would prefer to discuss some of these things in executive session, but I would need a motion from y'all to do that.
Sir, we do have one citizen speaker for item 6B.
All right, so I'm happy for someone to speak before we go into executive session, if that's okay with you. Everybody, go ahead.
Bruce Rudy again. So, Mr. Harris mentioned that he had emailed me about this because I, asked about it before. I just want to clarify though, because his email said that, so we're talking about the deputy city attorney position, I guess. And his email was clarifying, saying that you guys were going with it not being a valid issue to bring up because it was not something to do with the Open Meetings Act.
It was actually done by the mayor at the last meeting too, our special
Right,
call meeting.
right, but when I brought it up before, it wasn't really so much, and I'm not even sure it was an Open Meetings Act issue, but regardless, my point was that it's a city charter issue. In 604 of the charter, it explicitly gives authority to the city manager to hire and fire all staff.
Except for the city attorney.
The city attorney, not the deputy city attorney. So in 605, it explicitly states that you aren't to influence one way or the other, hiring or firing any staff that is under his control, which the deputy city attorney is. So my issue was that last meeting, when you made a vote, it had no impact because you didn't have the express authority and you actually had the express prohibition to even do that. So when I'm seeing it on here, I'm wondering what exactly could you be doing that's any different other than undoing that, but you don't need to. It would be nice, what I was hoping would happen would be that you come out and just say, we misspoke or we, misunderstood something and leave it alone and give it back to the city manager to deal with it. Because I'm not sure what you could be talking about in executive session about other than like a personnel problem that's like a legal issue, which I'm guessing isn't the issue. You really haven't got the hiring or firing authority on any position other than city attorney and city manager. And we're talking about the deputy city attorney, which is straight up an employee. So that was the only reason I was talking before, and it's the reason I'm kind of questioning why it's on the agenda now. I did see the other meeting, and I appreciate, like I say, that it's being discussed, but it really just, what's your role is
You're just
really
curious.
the thing. Well, I'm just kind of wondering, if you guys understand what the role is in that charter about this, that's all.
All right, so can I have a motion? Thank you, George. Motion to go into executive session, please.
I'll make the motion to go to executive session under section 551.074.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. Let's go upstairs. Back from executive session at 8:02. There were two items we are going to act upon in open session. Let's start on 7A. I'm sorry, 6A. 7A was executive session. 6A. Is there a motion?
To bring this out of executive session.
I just did.
Okay, sorry. On 6A regarding the employment of a city attorney, I'd like to make the motion that we hire William as our full-time city attorney.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to hire William Tosh. Did I say it correctly? Tosh. As our city attorney. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. Against? Passes 4-1. 6B, discussion and possible action regarding the assistant city attorney position. I ask that this be placed on a future agenda for possible action. Recently, we took a vote, a split vote, to eliminate a position, but on further thought and further reflection, I do not think that the council has that prerogative. So I would like a motion to rescind or vacate that previous action.
I'll make that motion.
A second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. Passes 5-0. All right. Are there any items for future agendas?
Do we need to include the workshop or just?
I think they're set up for that. Any other items for future agendas?
Just a follow-up, if I could. Are we anywhere with the Purple Heart designation?
No, you and I need to get together on that one.
Thank you.
William, congratulations.
No, thank y'all very much. I appreciate it.
Right. If there's nothing else, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 8:04.